All right, that time again Wednesday, our resident wordsmith comes out to play, broadcaster extraordinaire and explain and everything else. Kel Richards, he's here, isn't he? All these words we hear time and time again, but do we really know what they mean? He joins me now from Sydney. Great to have you on the show, Kel. I'm going to go to a phrase. I've used it quite a bit. I know some people were concerned or asking questions when they saw that news poll, Queensland and Victoria at the start of the week, saying that there was strong support for Daniel Andrews. Now, I've seen plenty of polls in my time. We talked about it with Paul Kelly a little while ago. There's a lot behind those sorts of polls, you know, people willing premiers to succeed in this pandemic. But of course, you know, a bit of Stockholm syndrome. The more that, you know, the captive is locked up, eventually they see the captor as a friend and a supporter, as opposed to the nefarious character they might have been in the start. Tell us where the phrase comes from.
A captor who identifies with their captor comes from the fact that in August of 1973, there was a botched bank robbery in Stockholm. The Sverige Credit Bank was raided by robbers who didn't know what they were doing. They took the staff prisoner and held them hostage in the vaults of the bank for 6 days. The hostages came out after 6 days thinking that their captors were wonderful and it was the police who were likely to shoot them. Now, what made it really popular was spread around the world. A year later, Patty Hearst, the heiress of the great Hearst newspaper fortune, was kidnapped by the Symbionese Liberation Army. And then a bit later, she had so emotionally identified with her captors that she actually took part in an armed bank hold-up with them, holding a submachine gun. And now, that's the Stockholm syndrome. The phrase finally caught up in the English language about 1978. It's recorded from 1978 in the Oxford English Dictionary. So it's that idea that if your captor keeps hanging on to you and saying, this is the thing that's good for you, I'll look after you, you start believing it. And according to those polls we saw on the weekend, 70% of Victorians suffer from... They're all Patty Hearst. 70% of Victorians are now Patty Hearst. They're all suffering from the Stockholm syndrome.
And look, some other media tactics from a premier, and of course we're all locked up at home. We want this hell to end. I suspect there's a lot of people who aren't getting tested at the moment because we need those numbers to come down. I've got another word, but we might hold that over for next week because we had that breaking news from Andrew Clennell. Kel Richards, thank you for your time.
Chat to you next week.